I always thought I had it all figured out. 3 years of marriage to Emily and everything seemed perfect. Too perfect, in fact, to even imagine that something could go wrong. We were happy. I was happy. Every morning, I'd wake up next to her, her soft brown hair tangled across the pillow, the kind of beauty that seemed so effortless. We had a routine, a life that worked, everything in its place. Emily wasn't just beautiful, she was intelligent, outgoing, and driven. A university graduate, always the life of the party, making friends wherever she went. I admired that about her. Her energy was contagious, and whenever she spoke, you couldn't help but listen. It was one of the things I loved most about her, the way she commanded attention without even trying. Ryan, are you even listening? Emily's voice broke through my thoughts as she leaned against the doorframe, her arms crossed. Sorry, what? I chuckled, leaning back on the couch. Just thinking about how lucky I am to have you. She smiled, but I noticed a quick flicker in her eyes, something I couldn't quite put my finger on. She was about to leave for her university trip to Europe with a few friends, and we had been discussing the plans for the week. I knew she'd be gone for about a week, but I still didn't understand why I felt this unease creeping in. You know, I'll miss you while I'm gone, I said, trying to make light of the situation. She gave me a quick, distracted smile before brushing her hair behind her ear. I'll miss you too, Ryan. But it's just a week, I'll be back before you know it. And just like that, she was off. I watched her pull out of the driveway, suitcase in the back seat. I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off, even as I told myself it was just my imagination running wild. I mean, this was Emily, she loved me. She had no reason to hide anything from me. I tried to push the thought out of my head, telling myself I was being paranoid. After all, we had always been open with each other. We didn't keep secrets, or at least I didn't think we did. The days dragged on without her. I filled my time with work, texting her every chance I got. The conversations were light, just the usual, I miss you, and can't wait to see you exchanges, but there was a subtle change in the way she responded. She was distant, a little less engaged than usual, as if there was something more on her mind. I'm just tired from all the sightseeing, she texted one evening. It's been nonstop, but I'm having a great time. How's everything there? I couldn't help but feel a sense of distance between us, a wall that wasn't there before. She had always been bubbly and full of life, but now there was an edge to her words, something that made my stomach twist. Everything's fine here, I replied. Just counting down the days until you get back. But as I set the phone down on the table, I felt that same unease again. Something was nagging at me like a whisper I couldn't quite catch. I didn't want to believe it. I didn't want to think that Emily, my Emily, would ever do anything to hurt me. But this feeling, it wasn't going away. I shook it off. I had to. I trusted her. She would never lie to me. It had only been a few weeks since Emily came back from her trip, and things seemed normal at first. She was her usual self, chatting about the sights she'd seen in Europe and the friends she'd caught up with. I had missed her terribly, but now that she was home, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. Maybe I was just being paranoid, but there was this distance between us, something unspoken, lingering in the air. One evening after dinner, as we sat on the couch in our living room, Emily leaned against me, her head on my shoulder. For a moment, everything felt perfect again. But then she pulled away, her expression slightly different from the way it had been before. Ryan, she began, her voice a bit more serious than usual. I turned to face her, instantly feeling the shift in the room. What's wrong? I asked, trying to read her face. She hesitated for a second before she spoke. I have something to tell you. I felt a knot form in my stomach. What is it? I'm pregnant, she said almost too casually. Her eyes avoided mine as she fidgeted with her hands. At first I was ecstatic. My heart raced with excitement. That's amazing. We're going to be parents. I pulled her close, kissing the top of her head. But as I held her, something didn't feel right. The joy was there, but there was also a strange feeling creeping in, the same feeling that had been building over the past couple of weeks, like an itch I couldn't scratch. I pulled back, looking into her eyes, trying to process what she had just told me. Wait, I said slowly, trying to piece it together. When did this happen? I mean, when was the last time we... Emily's eyes darted away from mine. She sighed, her voice soft. It was just before I left for Europe. We talked about it, remember? But that didn't add up. She had been away for almost 2 weeks. I had counted the days in my head, trying to make the math work, but it didn't. I opened my mouth to ask more, but I stopped myself. Something in her face told me she wasn't ready to answer those questions. Ryan, please don't, she said quickly, sensing my hesitation. I'm not hiding anything. It's a lot, you know? I didn't know how to tell you. I swallowed hard, feeling a lump form in my throat. But, Emily, if you were with me, then how? Her hand went to mine, silencing me. Let's just be happy for now, okay? She forced a smile, but it didn't reach her eyes. I wanted to believe her, to trust her. But I couldn't shake the nagging feeling gnawing at me. The timeline didn't add up. I ran the dates over and over in my mind, but the more I thought about it, the more I started to question everything. I stood up, pacing back and forth in the living room. This doesn't make sense, Emily. The dates, they don't match up. You were gone for so long. And now, suddenly, you're pregnant? She stood up too, her voice getting a little sharper. Ryan, I told you. Everything is fine. It's not as complicated as you're making it out to be. I turned to face her, my heart racing. Then explain it to me, Emily. Explain how this works. Because I'm not getting it. Her shoulders sagged and I saw something in her face that made my stomach twist. It wasn't guilt exactly, it was more like fear. She was afraid of something and I didn't know what it was. Ryan, she said softly, walking over to me, her voice barely above a whisper. I promise you there's nothing to worry about. Just trust me. I wanted to trust her. I really did. But the doubt in my chest kept growing, each word she spoke adding more weight to the uncertainty that had taken root in my mind. What if she was hiding something? What if she wasn't being honest with me? I need time to think, I said, the words coming out more coldly than I meant them to. I turned away, needing space to breathe. Ryan, please, she called after me, her voice desperate. But I was already halfway out the door, stepping out into the cool night air, trying to clear my head. I loved Emily. I did. But right then all I could think about was how her words no longer seemed to add up. Was I just overthinking it, or was there something she wasn't telling me? I couldn't sit still. The tension in my chest was unbearable. Emily's words from the night before echoed in my mind. I couldn't get past the feeling that something wasn't right, something she wasn't telling me. So, I decided it was time to confront her. I found her in the kitchen, busy with the dishes. She didn't even turn to face me when I walked in, but I could tell she knew I was there. There was this palpable shift in the room. My pulse quickened as I stood behind her, unsure how to begin but knowing I had to ask. Emily, I said, my voice tight, trying to keep the frustration out of it. We need to talk. She didn't answer right away, but I could see her shoulders tense. Finally, she set the dish down and turned around. Her face was unreadable, but her eyes flickered with something. Was it guilt? Anxiety? What about? She asked, her tone almost too casual. You know what about? I said, stepping closer, my voice gaining strength. The pregnancy. The timeline. It doesn't add up, Emily. Her lips pressed together in a thin line. Ryan, I told you everything is fine. That's not what I'm asking. I snapped, taking a step forward. I'm asking how you got pregnant when we weren't even together when you were away. You can't just brush that aside. The dates don't make sense. And I need an explanation. Now. Emily's gaze shifted to the floor, and her hands wrung together in front of her. She looked like she was searching for the right words, but she didn't find them. I could feel the wall she was building between us, and it hurt. My chest tightened with each passing second. There's nothing to explain, she said, her voice wavering just a little. It happened when it happened. It's not that complicated, Ryan. It's not that complicated? I repeated, incredulous. It's my life, Emily. My future. How can you say it's not that complicated? She sighed, rubbing her forehead. I'm not hiding anything from you, Ryan. Please don't make this harder than it has to be. I could hear the defensiveness in her voice, the way she was trying to shut me down. And that's when the anger really hit me. Harder than it has to be? I couldn't believe she was saying that. You've been gone for weeks. I didn't even know what was going on. And now you're pregnant, and I'm supposed to just believe you? You've been distant, Emily. You've been avoiding me ever since you got back. Don't tell me this is all fine. Her eyes snapped up to meet mine. For a moment I saw something, regret, maybe fear, but it was gone in an instant. I'm doing the best I can, Ryan. I don't need you questioning everything I say. Questioning? I almost laughed bitterly. I'm not questioning, Emily. I'm wondering if everything you've told me is a lie. You say there's nothing to hide, but you won't even give me a straight answer about the timeline. You're making this feel like a damn mystery. Emily's expression hardened, and she crossed her arms over her chest. You think I'm lying to you? After everything we've been through? I don't know anymore. The words came out before I could stop them. My heart was pounding now and my hands shook at my sides. I wanted to believe her. I wanted to trust her, but how could I when nothing made sense? She stared at me for a long moment, her lips trembling. But she didn't say anything. I could see the frustration building in her, just as it was building in me. I just need to know, Emily, I said, my voice quieter now, more pleading. I just need the truth. She took a step back, shaking her head. I'm not doing this right now, Ryan. I've told you everything. I don't have to keep explaining myself. And with that, she turned away from me, her back to me once again. I stood there, frozen. I wanted to follow her, to grab her, to shake the answers out of her. But I didn't. Because a part of me was afraid. Afraid of what I might hear, afraid of what I might lose. And I didn't know how to fix it. Emily was slipping away and I couldn't stop it. I couldn't stop thinking about it. The dates didn't add up. Emily's pregnancy didn't make sense, and my gut told me there was more to the story than she was letting on. I couldn't just sit back and accept her vague answers. Not anymore. I needed to know the truth. So I started digging. I reached out to some of Emily's university friends, asking about the trip. I told myself it was just curiosity, just trying to piece everything together. But deep down, I knew I was trying to find something, anything, that would explain the growing gap between Emily and me. I hated this feeling, but it wasn't something I could ignore anymore. The first person I called was Lisa, one of Emily's closest friends. Her voice was bright, almost too chipper as she picked up. Hey Ryan. How's it going? She asked, her tone light, but I could tell there was an edge to her excitement. She probably knew why I was calling. Hey Lisa. I'm good. I just wanted to ask you something about Emily's trip. How was it? Did she have a good time? Oh, you know Emily, Lisa said, laughing. She's always on the go. The trip was fun, but honestly she was a little distracted towards the end. She seemed to be spending a lot of time with Jason. Jason. I repeated, the name hitting me harder than I expected. I had heard it before, but now it felt significant. Who's Jason? Jason? Oh, you don't know him? He's one of her old friends from college. They were really close, like really close, Lisa said, her voice dropping a little. They were inseparable on the trip. I think she was leaning on him a lot after, everything that happened. I felt my chest tighten. What do you mean by everything that happened? Lisa hesitated, but then spoke again. You didn't know? They were a bit more than friends, I think. They were definitely spending a lot of late nights together. But don't get me wrong, Emily was still her usual self, but Jason, he was always there. I just assumed everything was fine, but I don't know. It was weird. Her words hit like a punch to the gut. I tried to keep my voice steady, but it was hard. Thanks, Lisa. I appreciate it. I hung up, feeling the weight of her words sinking in. Emily and Jason? Close. More than friends? I couldn't shake it. I couldn't shake the image of them together, and the thought made my stomach turn. The next step was to talk to Emily's family. I called her brother Matt, who had always been supportive of me, and asked if he knew anything about the trip. Hey Matt, it's Ryan. Quick question. Do you know anything about Emily's time abroad? Was everything okay? Any, drama I should know about? Matt's response was quick and blunt. Drama? With Emily? Nah man, not really. She seemed fine. She talked about Jason a lot though, he was her best buddy on the trip. Jason again. The name was like a weight on my chest. Did they seem close? I asked, my voice strained even to my own ears. Matt didn't hesitate. Yeah, they were close. They've always had a thing for each other, even when they were back in school. Honestly, I don't think it's a big deal. But if you're worried... I'm not worried, I interrupted, but my voice betrayed me. I don't know. I'm trying to understand everything. I could hear Matt's confused silence before he responded. Ryan, you sure everything's alright with you too? I know Emily loves you, man. But if you've got doubts, it might be worth talking to her about it. Yeah, I muttered. I will. I ended the call and sat back, the weight of the information settling over me like a cloud. I was no closer to the truth, but I felt more unsettled than ever. Why didn't Emily tell me about Jason? Why did she avoid the truth? I couldn't focus. Every thought was consumed by this new revelation. I was obsessed, I knew that. But I couldn't help myself. I had to know what happened. I had to find out if my wife, my Emily, had betrayed me. I didn't want to believe it. I couldn't. But the more I thought about the things Lisa and Matt had said, the more the pieces started to fall into place. Emily and Jason had been too close, and the timeline, everything, was starting to make sense in a way I wasn't ready for. I had to know the truth. I couldn't take it anymore. The next day, I waited for Emily to come home. The entire apartment felt cold, empty, as if the walls knew what was about to happen. When she finally walked through the door, I stood up, my heart hammering in my chest. Ryan, she said, surprised by my sudden urgency. We need to talk, I said, my voice steady despite the storm inside me. Her eyes narrowed and I saw her face change. She knew something was off. About what? About you and Jason, I spat, every word dripping with the poison of doubt and anger. About everything. What the hell happened between you two? Her face went pale and she stepped back, clearly not expecting me to know. I don't know what you mean, she said, her voice faltering slightly, though she tried to hide it. She was still lying and that pushed me further. You don't know? I repeated, laughing bitterly. Lisa told me. Matt told me. And don't even try to deny it, I've seen the way you look at him. Ryan, please let me explain, she said, her voice cracking. Explain? I took a step toward her, my fists clenched. Explain how you betrayed me? How you had an affair with him while you were supposed to be away on a trip. Her face dropped, and the guilt in her eyes was unmistakable. She didn't say anything at first, and that silence was enough. I didn't need her to confirm it. I already knew. I didn't mean for it to happen, she whispered, her voice small now. It was a mistake, Ryan. A one-time mistake. I was confused, I was upset. Jason was there for me. Jason was there for you? The words felt like venom as they left my mouth. So, what am I supposed to be, Emily? Your backup? Your fallback? You had me right here and you chose him. Chose him. Her shoulders shook and she looked like she was about to cry. But I couldn't bring myself to care. I wanted to feel sorry for her, I wanted to feel something, but I couldn't. My world had just been shattered and all I could feel was rage. The love I thought I had for her was slowly being replaced by something darker. I didn't mean for it to happen, she said again, almost pleading with me. It was just one night. One stupid night, Ryan. I swear to you it didn't mean anything. It didn't. You slept with him, Emily, I said, my voice low and dangerous now. How am I supposed to believe you? She stepped forward, reaching out for me. Please, Ryan, I'm so sorry. I regret it. I regret it more than anything. But it was a mistake. It meant nothing. Please don't leave me. I don't want to lose you. I love you. I recoiled at her touch, my heart sinking deeper into a pit of coldness. You love me? Is that why you lied to me for weeks? Is that why you let me believe everything was fine when you were hiding this? You don't love me, Emily. If you did, you would have never done this. Her eyes filled with tears. I know I've hurt you. I don't deserve your forgiveness. But please, don't leave me. Please don't throw everything we've had away. I felt like I was drowning, each word she said pulling me under deeper. I wanted to believe her, to hold on to the past, but the betrayal had cut me to my core. I didn't know who she was anymore. The woman I married wasn't the woman standing in front of me now. I don't know if I can forgive you, Emily, I said, my voice shaking, barely above a whisper. I don't know if I can ever look at you the same way again. I don't know if I even want to. I'll do anything, Ryan, she cried. Anything to make this right. Please. I closed my eyes, fighting the emotions that threatened to spill out. The love, the anger, the hurt, they all collided inside me. And in that moment I realized something. I wasn't just hurt. I wasn't just angry. I wanted justice. I wanted revenge. She had taken something from me, something irreplaceable, and now it was time for her to understand what it felt like. I'm not sure we can fix this, Emily, I said, the coldness in my voice taking over. I'm not sure we should. I couldn't sleep. Not because of the anger, though it was there, simmering beneath the surface, but because of the choice. Emily had betrayed me, and now I was standing at the crossroads between revenge and forgiveness. I could feel the weight of it all pressing down on me. My thoughts kept circling back to the same place. What was I supposed to do now? I got out of bed, the room feeling colder than usual, and paced around the apartment. My phone buzzed on the counter. It was a message from Matt. Ryan, are you okay? I haven't heard from you in a while. I stared at the screen. I didn't know how to answer that. Could I tell him how broken I felt? Could I explain how my trust in Emily had shattered into a million pieces? How my mind was consumed with thoughts of revenge? I didn't know. So I didn't respond. Instead, I kept pacing, feeling more alone with every step. Eventually, I called Lisa. She had been supportive through all of this, and I needed someone to talk to. I needed to hear a voice that wasn't so filled with regret. Lisa, I said when she picked up, I don't know what to do anymore. Ryan, I'm so sorry. I can't even imagine what you're going through, she replied softly, her tone full of sympathy. But you have to ask yourself, is revenge going to make you feel better? Is it going to fix anything? Fix anything? I scoffed, my voice laced with bitterness. How could I ever forgive her for this? For him? Jason. The guy she was so close to? I can't just let this slide, Lisa. She's taken everything from me. She's destroyed me. How do I just move on from that? Lisa fell silent for a moment. You don't have to forgive her, Ryan. But you also don't have to let this destroy you. Holding on to that anger, it won't fix anything. Trust me. Her words hit me like a slap. I didn't want to hear that. I didn't want to let go of the anger. But I couldn't ignore the part of me that realized she was right. Revenge felt like the only way to regain some control, but deep down, I knew it would only dig me deeper into this hole of resentment. I'll think about it, I muttered, not sure if I believed myself. I hung up the phone, my mind spinning. The more I thought about forgiveness, the more I felt like it would just make me weak. She didn't deserve forgiveness. But Jason? Jason needed to pay. It wasn't just about Emily anymore. It was about making sure he knew the consequences of what he had done. I grabbed my jacket, suddenly feeling the need to do something, anything, to take back some of the power I had lost. I didn't even know where I was going, but I couldn't stay in this apartment another second, not with her guilt hanging in the air like a thick fog. I found myself standing outside Jason's apartment an hour later, heart racing. It felt like I was about to step into another world, a world where everything was out of my control, and all I had to do was push the door open to get the answers I wanted. Or maybe the closure. Or maybe revenge. I rang the bell. My fingers tightened around the door frame as I waited for the sound of footsteps approaching. Every nerve in my body was on high alert. When the door opened, Jason stood there looking surprised to see me. Ryan? He said, his voice sounding far too calm. What are you doing here? You know exactly why I'm here, I said through gritted teeth, stepping forward. You've been messing around with my wife, Jason. I'm here to make sure you understand the consequences of that. He raised an eyebrow, not an ounce of fear in his eyes. You think this is about Emily? You think this is your personal drama to fix? I'm not scared of you, man. I didn't expect him to be scared, but I did expect him to have some damn respect. You don't get it, do you? This is about more than Emily. This is about what you've taken from me. I'm not going to let you walk away from this. Jason's lips curled into a small smirk and my fists clenched. But I didn't make a move. Not yet. I wanted him to understand. I wanted him to feel the weight of his actions, the hurt he had caused me. You're just like Emily, I muttered, trying to brush it all off. But you don't get to move on like nothing happened. Not after what you've done. Jason's smirk faded, replaced with a flicker of something I couldn't quite place. Look, Ryan, I get it. I was wrong. But that doesn't mean I'm scared of you. I stepped closer, my voice low. You should be. The words hung in the air like a promise, a threat, a final declaration of everything I was feeling. I didn't know what would come next, but I knew one thing for sure. Emily's betrayal had changed me forever. And Jason would feel the consequences. I couldn't stop thinking about Jason. The more I thought about him, the angrier I got. I had to face him, had to let him know what he'd done to my life. I wasn't sure what I expected from this confrontation, but one thing was clear. I needed answers, and I needed him to understand that he couldn't just walk away from the mess he'd created. I showed up at his apartment an hour later. My heart was racing as I stood in front of his door. The weight of my anger pressed down on me like a physical force. I knocked hard, the sound echoing down the hallway. Jason opened the door, that same smirk playing on his lips as he looked me up and down. Well, Ryan. What's up? I didn't even waste time with pleasantries. I know what you did, I said, my voice sharp. I know about you and Emily. And I want to hear it from you. What the hell happened? He raised an eyebrow, clearly amused. Oh, so this is about Emily, huh? You've been stewing over this for a while, haven't you? He leaned against the doorframe casually, as if this was just another day for him. My blood boiled. You think this is funny? I stepped forward, but Jason didn't flinch. He just stood there, relaxed like he had all the time in the world. It's not funny, Ryan. It's just the way things are. You should have seen it coming. Emily and I were always close. You never saw it, but I did. Jason's voice was smooth, like he didn't care at all. I clenched my fist. So that's it? You think it's okay to just sleep with my wife? To destroy everything we had? Jason's smirk faltered for a moment, but he quickly regained his composure. It wasn't like that, man. It was just one night. Just a mistake. She came to me and he paused as if deciding whether to keep taunting me. We comforted each other. You weren't around. What do you expect? That hit harder than I expected. My stomach churned. You really think that makes it better? I took a step closer, my voice low but filled with fury. You think this is just some small thing I can forget? Jason straightened up and took a step toward me. I don't need you to forgive me, Ryan. You never understood her like I did. We were connected in a way you could never be with her. I didn't even think. My hand flew out before I realized it and I shoved him hard in the chest. Shut up. I shouted, feeling the heat rise in my face. You're nothing but a backstabber. Jason stumbled back but quickly regained his balance, his eyes flashing with irritation. You're pathetic, man, he growled. She didn't even want you. She wanted me. You're just too blind to see it. That did it. My emotions, already a powder keg, finally exploded. I lunged at him, grabbing him by the shirt and pushing him back into the wall. The force of it knocked the wind out of him and I heard a grunt of pain. He recovered quickly, shoving me off with a surprising amount of strength. What the hell do you think you're doing? Jason yelled. I lunged again and this time I didn't care about the consequences. My hand collided with his face and I felt his skin give way under the punch. Jason's head snapped back but he didn't back down. He came at me with his own punch, catching me on the jaw. The sting of it made my vision blur for a second but the anger kept me going. We fought for a few moments, chaotic, brutal, raw. My head was spinning, my chest tight with frustration, but I didn't care. He was the cause of all this, the reason my life felt like it was falling apart. I had to make him feel something. Anything. Eventually we both stumbled back, breathing heavily. Jason wiped the blood from his lip, his expression no longer cocky. He was angry now but there was something else in his eyes too. Maybe it was guilt. Maybe it was fear. But I didn't care about his emotions anymore. You're nothing but a coward, Jason, I spat, my voice hoarse. You don't get to walk away from this. You don't get to ruin everything and act like it doesn't matter. He wiped his mouth again, his face dark with anger. You think I don't know that? You think I'm proud of what I did? Yeah, I fucked up. But it's too late now, Ryan. You and Emily are done. She's never going to look at you the same way again. You've lost. His words were like a slap in the face and for a moment I felt something deep inside me snap. He was right. Emily had betrayed me and no matter how much I wanted to hate her, part of me still loved her. But Jason I could hate forever. He had no place in my life. No place in her life. And I wasn't going to let him take that from me. I turned and walked toward the door, my mind spinning with everything that had just happened. I felt broken but I also felt something else. Determined. Jason might have hurt me but he wouldn't win. Not like this. The door slammed behind me and I stepped into the cold air, taking a deep breath. I couldn't go back to who I was before. Emily's betrayal had changed me forever. But I was taking control now. I was done being the victim. Jason had made his choice and now it was time for me to make mine. It had been a few weeks since everything exploded between Emily and me. The fight, the betrayal, the lies, it all hung in the air like a dark cloud that wouldn't let me breathe. But slowly I was starting to see a sliver of light. I had to take control of my life again. I couldn't keep wallowing in the pain Emily had caused. I had to move forward even if I didn't know how. I threw myself into work. It was the only place where I could feel like I was doing something right. At first, it was just a distraction, a way to numb the ache in my chest. But after a while, I started to find comfort in the routine. Every task I completed, every deadline I met, gave me a small sense of accomplishment. It didn't fix anything, but it felt like a step in the right direction. Ryan, my boss called out one afternoon, interrupting my thoughts. You're killing it lately. I've noticed the progress. Keep it up. Thanks, I replied, forcing a smile. It felt good to hear that, to feel seen again, even if it was just in the context of work. It was something. But as much as work was helping, I knew I needed more. I needed to heal, truly heal. So, I did what I never thought I'd do. I called a therapist. I sat in the waiting room, the walls feeling like they were closing in on me. It wasn't easy admitting I needed help, but the thought of continuing down this path of bitterness and resentment terrified me. I didn't want to be this angry man, a man consumed by a betrayal. I wanted to be better than that. Ryan, a voice called out, pulling me from my thoughts. I stood up, following the woman into her office. She had a calming presence, her voice soft but strong as we began to talk. It wasn't easy, not at first. I felt exposed, vulnerable, but slowly I started to realize something. Talking about my feelings, confronting my pain, was the first step to taking control. I wasn't letting it control me anymore. Days turned into weeks and I found myself reconnecting with old friends, people I hadn't seen since before everything fell apart. We met for drinks, for dinner, for the kind of conversations I hadn't had in far too long. The laughter felt real, the kind of laughter that reached deep into your chest and made you forget about everything else for a while. I needed that. I needed to remember what it felt like to just be me again. One night, after a few drinks, I looked around the table at my friends. They had no idea what had been happening in my life, and for a moment, it felt like I was someone else. Someone who wasn't broken, someone who hadn't been hurt. "You doing okay, man?" Mike asked, his voice serious now. "You've been a little distant lately." I forced a smile, leaning back in my chair. "I'm good. Just been busy, you know? Trying to get my life back on track." Mike studied me for a moment, then nodded. "If you ever need to talk, we're here, man." I couldn't help but appreciate his concern, even though I didn't want to burden him with the mess that was my life. Still, it felt good to be seen by someone who cared. But Emily, despite her apologies, remained a presence in my life, even if it was an unwelcome one. She texted occasionally, checking in, asking if we could talk. I always ignored her messages, telling myself that I was done, that I didn't need any more closure. I had enough. But the truth was, part of me still wanted to know why she did it, why she betrayed me. One evening I finally caved. I texted her back. "We need to talk." It wasn't a grand gesture. It wasn't some reconciliation. I didn't want that. I just needed to make sure I wasn't holding on to any false hope. So we met at a cafe, the same place we'd gone on our first date. The place where it all began. It felt fitting in a way. "Ryan, I'm so sorry," Emily started as soon as I sat down. Her voice cracked and I could see the regret in her eyes, but I didn't feel anything. "Not anymore." "I know you are," I said, my voice even detached. "But it doesn't matter now, Emily. You've already done what you did. There's no going back." She reached across the table, her hand trembling. "I still love you, Ryan. I never wanted to hurt you. I didn't know what I was doing." I pulled my hand back, the words stinging, but I didn't let them break me. "You've already hurt me more than you'll ever understand. I can't keep living in the past, Emily. I'm moving on. For me. Not for you." I stood up to leave, my heart heavy but no longer shattered. I wasn't the man I was a few weeks ago. I was stronger, not because of anything Emily had done or said, but because I had taken control of my life again. And that felt like a victory, even if it was just the beginning. It had been a few weeks since I last saw Emily, but her attempts to reach me hadn't stopped. Texts, calls, even emails. Every time my phone buzzed, I knew it was her. But I had learned something in the past few weeks. I didn't need her anymore. The constant reminders of her betrayal, of his betrayal, were just too much to bear. I was at work when I saw her name flash on my phone screen once again. This time I answered. "Ryan," Emily's voice cracked when she spoke. "We need to talk." I leaned back in my chair, staring at the screen but not answering. "I don't think there's much left to say, Emily." "I'm sorry," she said softly. "I know I've hurt you. I've been selfish. I just want to make things right. Can we meet? Please." I didn't want to see her. I didn't want to hear any more apologies. But there was a part of me, no, not a part of me, a weak part of me, that wanted to believe her. I hadn't been able to completely shut her out, not yet. So I agreed. I met her at a coffee shop, the same one we used to go to on lazy Sunday mornings. It felt too familiar, and yet, everything had changed. Emily was already sitting at a corner table when I walked in, her hands folded in front of her, her eyes downcast. She looked smaller than I remembered, more fragile, as if the weight of her regret was physically draining her. "Ryan," she said softly, looking up when she heard me approach. "I've missed you." I stayed standing, my arms crossed over my chest. "You've missed me? After everything?" Her eyes flickered with something, guilt, pain, but there was still that quiet, desperate hope in her gaze. "I know I don't deserve forgiveness. I know that. But I just need you to know that I'm sorry. I'm sorry for everything I've done. I love you, Ryan." Her words hit me like a slow-moving punch, like a dagger that had already been lodged in my chest but was twisting deeper with each passing second. The love she spoke of felt hollow. It felt like she was trying to revive something dead. Something that didn't belong to either of us anymore. "You don't get to say that," I said quietly. "Not after what you did. Not after everything you took from me." "I never meant to hurt you," she whispered, her voice trembling now. "I was lost. I was confused. And Jason, he was just there and I was weak. I've regretted it every single day, Ryan. I can't take it back, but please, let me make it right." I finally sat down, my hands resting on the table. I could see the tears in her eyes, the rawness in her face, and it almost broke me. Almost. But there was nothing left to salvage here. The trust, the connection, it had all been ripped away and replaced with this empty, painful ache. "You can't make it right, Emily," I said, my voice firm. "You can't fix what's broken between us. I've been trying to move on and you've been dragging me back." She flinched at my words, but I didn't feel any satisfaction from it. I didn't feel any vindication. I just felt tired. Please, Ryan, she begged, her voice thick with emotion. I'm sorry. I'll do anything. I can't lose you. I won't survive this. You're everything to me. You've already lost me, I said, leaning back in my chair. And I'm okay with that. I need to be okay with that. I'm done being the man who lets you in and lets you hurt him. I'm done. She stayed silent for a long time, and for a moment I thought she might cry. But she didn't. She just stared at me, her eyes filled with something I couldn't quite place. Regret, yes, but also a recognition of the finality in my words. I'm sorry, she whispered again, more softly this time. I never wanted this. I never wanted to hurt you. I stood up then, the weight of the conversation settling heavily on my shoulders. I know. But it's too late for apologies, Emily. I'm not the same person I was. And I'm never going to be that person again. She watched me as I turned to leave, her eyes filled with sorrow, but she didn't stop me. She didn't reach out. And that was the last time I saw her. I didn't know what I expected when I agreed to meet Emily again. Maybe I thought I'd get some closure, or maybe some final heartfelt apology that would heal the last remnants of my broken heart. But deep down I knew that wouldn't happen. Not after everything she'd done. She asked to meet me in the park, a place that used to mean something good to both of us. I wasn't sure why she chose it. Maybe it was because of the memories, or maybe it was because it felt neutral. No more cafe tables, no more familiar spots where we once shared our love. When I saw her sitting on a bench, her posture stiff, her face a little pale, I knew this wasn't going to be the conversation I had hoped for. I approached her, my feet heavy with each step. Emily, I said as I sat down beside her. What do you want? She took a deep breath before speaking. Ryan, I've been thinking about everything. About us. And I need to tell you the truth. The real truth. I didn't say anything. I didn't need to. I already knew that whatever she was going to say, it wasn't going to fix anything. Not for me. I used you, she said, the words almost too quiet for me to hear. I used you as a safety net. I was with you because you were stable, because you were there when I needed you, but I never truly loved you the way you deserved. I wasn't honest with you, not even with myself. I stared at her, my chest tightening with every word. This was it. This was the final blow. You're telling me now? After everything? You really think I can just accept that? Her eyes filled with tears and she wiped them away quickly. I never wanted to hurt you, Ryan. I never wanted to deceive you. But I was scared. I didn't know how to deal with it, so I kept lying to you, to myself, to everyone. So what? I said, my voice growing colder, sharper. You just kept me around while you played me for a fool? While you were with Jason behind my back. Emily's face flushed with guilt. She looked like she wanted to disappear, but I wasn't going to make it easy for her. Yes, she whispered. And I hate myself for it. But that's the truth. I never loved you the way you deserved. I thought I did, but I was wrong. I felt like the ground was slipping beneath me. I wanted to scream, to throw something, to make her feel the hurt she had caused. But I didn't. I just sat there, my fists clenched in my lap, trying to breathe through the pain. I wasn't enough for you, was I? That's what this is about. Jason, he was enough. And I wasn't. She shook her head quickly. No, that's not it at all. Jason, he wasn't about love, Ryan. It was never about that. It was just a mistake, a temporary escape from everything I was hiding from. But you, she paused, swallowing hard. You were always there for me. You were everything I thought I wanted. But I didn't know how to truly appreciate you. I took a deep breath, the weight of her words hitting me like a freight train. I felt like I had been punched in the gut all over again. But this time, something in me clicked. It was no longer just about the betrayal. It wasn't about Jason or her lies. It was about me. It was about how she had never truly valued me, how I had been just a backup, a second choice. Emily, I said quietly, forcing the words out, I was a placeholder for you, wasn't I? I was never what you really wanted. You used me because I was easy. I was always here, always waiting for you. But you never truly saw me. She looked like she wanted to say something, but she couldn't. The silence between us stretched on, thick and suffocating. I could see the tears in her eyes, but they didn't matter anymore. I had nothing left to give her. I had already given her everything and she had thrown it away. I need to go, I said, standing up abruptly. I can't keep doing this. I'm done, Emily. I'm done pretending that I can fix something that's broken beyond repair. Ryan, please, she whispered, reaching out to me. I'm sorry. I never wanted to hurt you. I love you. I always will. I looked down at her hand, but I didn't take it. I couldn't. Love isn't enough anymore. You broke me, Emily. And now I'm the one who has to rebuild. I'm done being your safety net. I'm done being your second choice. I turned and walked away without looking back. The pain, the betrayal, it didn't matter anymore. I had given everything I had, and now I was walking away, leaving her with her regret. I knew I was doing the right thing, but that didn't make it any easier. I was taking control now. For the first time in a long time, I was doing what was best for me. I thought I'd never get to this point. The anger, the hurt, it had consumed me for so long that I didn't even know who I was without it. But here I was, standing in front of Emily once again, and something had changed in me. Maybe it was time. Time to let go. She was sitting on the couch, looking at me like she had in the past, but there was a difference now. She was waiting for me to say something, anything, to tell her that I was ready to try again. But I wasn't. Ryan, she said, her voice breaking. Please don't do this. I can't lose you. I'll do anything. I looked at her for a moment. She was pleading, and I could see the pain in her eyes. The regret, the guilt, it was all there. She wanted me to believe her, to trust her again, but I couldn't. Not anymore. I had spent too much of myself on someone who wasn't capable of loving me the way I deserved. Emily, I started, my voice steady, though it felt like my chest was tightening with each word. I've been thinking about everything. The lies, the betrayal. I kept trying to find a way to fix it, to make it right, but I can't anymore. You broke me. You broke us. And I don't think I can ever fix that. Not with you. She reached for my hand, but I pulled it away, not out of anger, but because I knew I had to. Ryan, she whispered, a sob escaping her throat. Please. I love you. I've always loved you. I shook my head. It's too late for love, Emily. You've already shown me who you are, and I can't keep going back to that. I can't keep doing this to myself. Her face crumpled, but I wasn't going to be the one to fix it. I had spent enough time trying to hold her up when she wasn't ready to hold me. I've spent too long trying to fix something that wasn't broken on my end, I continued, my voice firm. You made your choices. And now I have to make mine. Her eyes filled with tears, but I couldn't be the man who took her pain away anymore. Not at the cost of my own. I can't be your safety net anymore, I said quietly, standing up. I'm leaving, Emily. Not for you, but for me. I need to find myself again. I can't keep living like this, trying to mend something that was never meant to be fixed. I turned to walk away, but she stood up quickly, grabbing my arm. Ryan, please. Don't leave me. Don't do this. I need you. I looked down at her hand on my arm, the same hand that had held me close and pushed me away at the same time. I wasn't going to be that man anymore. I wasn't going to be the one who kept forgiving when it was clear that she couldn't even value me enough to protect me from her own choices. I've already left you, Emily, I said, pulling away gently. This is just the last step. I walked out of the door, the weight lifting from my shoulders with each step I took away from her. I didn't know where I was going, but I knew I wasn't going to look back. It wasn't easy. It wasn't some grand, dramatic moment where everything fell into place. There was no perfect closure. But as I walked down the street, the sun setting behind me, I felt something inside me shift. It was like I could breathe again. I wasn't free because Emily had apologized. I wasn't free because I had somehow forgiven her. I was free because I had forgiven myself. I had stopped holding on to the pieces of the past that didn't belong to me anymore. I had finally taken control of my life. The next few weeks were a blur. I threw myself into my work more than ever, reconnected with people I had lost touch with, and started taking care of myself in ways I hadn't in years. Slowly but surely I started to rebuild. It wasn't easy and it wasn't quick, but I was doing it. I was finding my peace, and I wasn't going to let anyone, least of all Emily, take it away from me. One night, I found myself standing by the window in my apartment, looking out at the city. The lights below twinkled, and for the first time in what felt like forever, I felt calm. I had let go of the past. I had let go of Emily. And now, I was ready to face whatever came next.